Hey everyone, it's Ban here, and in this Sayu guide, I'm gonna make it simplified but detailed at the same time. So how I'm going to do this is by breaking down her abilities properly, because I feel like there's a lot of things going on in her kit. So yeah, this also includes her constellations and like some newbie friendly tips, such as the amount of energy recharge to go for and so on. So the first reason why I'm doing this is because my girlfriend is new to Genshin, and the second reason is because I was watching Lily Pichu, Tens, and 39 Dev play Genshin, and it actually felt like they were struggling, so this basically made me want to break down my guides even more. So first, let's talk about her abilities. Her normal attacks are pretty average, but if you hold down the left mouse button, she does a spin to win move, and this does drain stamina, so just be careful because you need stamina for dodging. Next, on her elemental skill, which is her E button, it has two variations. So you can either tap it to do a short roll and the whirlwind kick after, or you can hold it and you can just roll like continuously for up to 10 seconds. So just a few common things to talk about here in terms of like, the questions that I get during my stream. If you want to do more damage, the tap version is the one that you want to use, because continuously rolling is not really that much damage to begin with, so you don't really want to use that if you're trying to push for damage. So the second thing is that it is also capable of absorbing an element, which basically deals that element's damage together with the anemo damage. Thirdly, the thing that you want to know is that the cooldown only starts after the kick at the end. And lastly, if you hit an enemy with the roll itself, it will only give you one energy particle, but the kick at the end will give you 2 energy particles. As for her ultimate, there's a lot of things going on, so I'll try to break it down. When you cast her ultimate, it does an initial heal on all your party members, and it also does an initial AoE damage to nearby enemies. And once this fat panda is out, it will tick up to 7 times, and each tick happens every 1.5 seconds. So the thing about the ticks is that if your active character has more than 70% HP as it ticks, it will damage enemies in a big AoE. But if your active character has less than 70% HP, the tick will heal your active character instead. To remove this restriction, you will need her first constellation to simultaneously damage enemies and heal your active character at the same time. So now for her builds, I'll talk about her best artifact sets, and then I'm also going to talk about the artifact slots, like which main stat do you want on which artifact. And lastly, I'll talk about the weapon choices. It's not really like a weapon ranking because I'll get to why there isn't really a ranking for Sayu. So the best set for Sayu, as with any other Anemo characters, will be the 4-piece Viridescent Venera, and this is because of the extra Swirl Damage and the Resistance Shred. The Viridescent Venera artifact set can be obtained from the Valley of Remembrance domain, which is just to the left of Mondstadt. Her second best artifact will be the 4-piece Noblesse Oblige, and this is simply because of the 20% extra attack for your entire party, and you can get this from the Clear Pool and Mountain Cavern domain in the top left of Liyue. So there is this Maiden's Beloved artifact set, but I feel like it is kind of overkill on her healing because it's already so much, but if you want to, you can actually just go for it. But more importantly, artifact sets are just a small bonus compared to having good artifacts that are leveled up. So it is really important to level up their artifacts, and even if they have like, bad substats, you just need a few characters on your team with leveled up artifacts to have an easier time in Genshin. So I'll just quickly talk about the importance of energy recharge on Sayu. In general, you want 200% energy recharge, and this is mainly because of the high energy cost of her ultimate, together with the fact that she can't really generate elemental particles from her elemental skill. Because of this, you're most likely going to use an energy recharge artifact on her Sense, which is what I have here. And as for her goblet, it will be Elemental Mastery, and her circlet is also Elemental Mastery. And if you're wondering what about the first two artifacts, this is basically the flower. It can only be HP main stat, so you can only look for substats in a good flower. And this goes the same for the feather, except that the feather is flat attack instead of HP. If you have more than 200% energy recharge, or you can get 200% energy recharge without the sense, then you just want to get Elemental Mastery instead of energy recharge. And if you don't have Elemental Mastery on your goblet or your circlet, then you can just go for attack percent on either of them. So I'll just quickly talk about why you should just pump in a lot of Elemental Mastery into Sayu. So from this table, you can see that, the middle build is the pure EM build, which stands for Elemental Mastery, and it just outperforms and outdamages the other two builds that I tried. So if you want to take a look, you can just pause or whatever, but basically it's the best. Just go EM or like full EM on Sayu. But don't sacrifice energy recharge for elemental mastery unless you have 200% energy recharge. And also, the only time that you don't go full EM is when you're fighting enemies that are immune to their own elements. So for example, Electro Slimes, they are immune to Electro, right? You don't want to put all your damage into Swirl because when you Swirl, it does no damage to these Electro Slimes. This is the only situation in which having attack percent or crit rate and whatever is better than having elemental mastery, because the damage of Swirl is dependent on how much elemental mastery you have. And this kind of ties in with the next topic, which is the weapon choices for Sayu. So in general, you want weapons with attack percent or elemental mastery as its secondary stat, simply because of her scaling on those stats. Alternatively, if you don't have 200% energy recharge, you probably should go for a weapon with energy recharge instead, because it is a lot more important to be able to cast her ultimate as soon as it's ready, instead of like waiting for another 10 seconds with no damage nor heals from her ultimate. What this basically means is that you can split her weapon choices into two categories. So the first category being non-energy recharge weapons, and the second being energy recharge weapons. In the first category, which is the non-energy recharge weapons, you have the Rain Slasher, which is a 4-star weapon, and you also have the Blood Tainted Greatsword, which is a 3-star weapon. And what these two weapons do is that they are going to increase your Swirl damage even more, and it also will increase your sustained healing from the Ascension talent by a bit. The second set of non-energy recharge weapons will be like any other weapon with attack percent as its secondary stat. So this includes weapons like Wolf's Gravestone or the Prototype Archaic, which you can craft from the blacksmith, and any other weapon with attack percent. What this set of weapons do is that they will increase your healing output because it scales with attack, and it will just perform slightly better than the EM weapons on single target. As for the weapons that give energy recharge, you have the Skyward Pride, you also have the Sacrificial Greatsword, and you have the Katsuragi Kiri Nagamasa. Oh my god, did I actually just did that in the first take? And the main differences between these three weapons are that the Skyward Pride has the highest base attack and just raw stats inside. The Sacrificial Greatsword has like a very unique utility whereby you can reset her elemental skill after you cast it. But this is by chance, and there is also a chance that you might not get it. Resetting the elemental skill basically gives you a bit more damage, like one more Swirl proc, as well as getting more energy particles because you get to use her E twice. And as for the Katsuragi Kiri Nagamasa, you kind of have to always cast her ultimate, before casting her elemental skill. Because when you cast her elemental skill and it hits an opponent, you will lose 3 energy, and you need to wait 2 seconds until you can use her ultimate again. And so the decision between choosing which energy recharge weapon you want for Sayu will be, really dependent on the situation and, your preference, I guess. Because all of them are generally the same in terms of damage. It's just that they have different effects, right? And the least conditional one would be the Sacrificial Greatsword and the Skyward Pride. So for the last part, I'll just talk about her Constellations in the form of a review. And her C1 is definitely a must-have. Like you basically remove the restriction as I mentioned earlier. So this is really like, if you are going to pull for Sayu and you can like do a bit more pulls, you should probably go for this. And for the second Constellation, you probably shouldn't be misled by this, because holding her E isn't going to be like a DPS increase, even with this damage bonus. It just gives this a little bit more kick, no pun intended. But you would be better off just swapping to another character and skill cycle. For her C3, it adds 3 levels to her ultimate, and this is the same for every single character at C3 and C5. So her C4 basically recovers 1.2 energy whenever she triggers Swirl. This has a cooldown of 2 seconds, but this also ties in together with the internal cooldown of applying elements, which is also 2 seconds. So this is like free energy. It essentially just makes her ultimate cost about 10 to 20 energy less. For her C6, I'm just going to break it down real quick. So basically what it's saying is that for each point of elemental mastery you have on Sayu, it will increase your ultimate's damage by 0.2% of her attack. And this has a cap of 400%. So what this means is that if you have 1000 elemental mastery, it will increase her ultimate's damage by 200% of Sayu's attack. So if her attack is 1000, this adds 2000 damage for each tick. The second thing it does is that for each point of elemental mastery you have on Sayu, it also increases the healing from her ultimate's tick by 3. So again, if you have 1000 elemental mastery, you will heal for 3000 extra healing per tick. So again, just go for her C1. It is very highly recommended, and you know, if you have a Bennett at C1, you'll understand what I mean. Okay, so I think I've basically covered everything that was asked during my stream. And you know, if you really found it helpful, or if you like this video, then you know, maybe just hit the like and subscribe button. It will help me a lot, especially in the long run. And I'm also gonna be streaming on Twitch at twitch.tv/itsbanban. So you can come check me out there. It's just that it might be kind of scuffed for this month because I'm still settling some contracts and you know, moving into my new house. I'll mainly be doing educational content on Genshin, such as the streaming that I did with the testing on Yoimiya and Sayu. I'll also be streaming together with my girlfriend like on other games. So basically I do have planned Genshin content, and you know, we might stream other games as well because Genshin's co-op isn't really, you know, very interactive, right? You can't really do a lot of things together. So of course, we're gonna stream other games as well, but we will still be doing things like teaching her how to do the Abyss or things like that. Recently, we streamed together, and you know, she helped me pull Yoimiya with like a really lucky amount of pulls. So I'll just show that as a bonus clip. And you know, thanks for watching. Thanks for staying to the end of this video. So this is Josie, and I'm gonna let her roll for me for Yoimiya. So let's just see the history on my... Oh, okay, so I got Ayaka 5 wishes ago. We're gonna try to get Yoimiya and Sayu because I already have C6 Diona, and this character is pretty useless. Like honestly, she's like, I don't even know what's her purpose in this game.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna do the first wish. Okay, okay.
Oh, you got useless shit.
Yeah, so you're gonna just wish 10 every time. Just wish 10, yeah.
Right.
Yes.
So I get to...
Yes, just roll. Okay, it's not a... there's no goal. You can just skip.
Okay.
Wish another 10. I still have like 8k Primo Gems. So, if we're lucky, we can get a 5-star before 75 rolls. And...
Hey, who's this?
God, I don't want her. I just want the Sayu.
Wow, can this go any faster?
You should have... Oh,
who's
okay,
that?
okay, okay. We
Hey,
got a
he's
new
so
character.
cute! What is this stupid boss supposed to be?
That's the ult or something.
Oh?
That's the ultimate.
Right. I thought that was the pet dog.
Pet. Okay. Anyway. if you don't see a gold, just skip
Oh, right.
the.
Oh, because
on
gold
the
will
top
be
right.
her.
Yes, gold is the. Okay, wait
Skip.
Oh, you just got it! Wait, you just got it in 30
Really?
tries? Wait.
good.
30 tries is because pity is at 90, right?
Right, so
You
it's pretty good.
you essentially just got really lucky because the chances of getting. Are you even listening?
No, I want to check her out.
Yeah. Oh wait.
She's okay. I don't think she's that cute.
What are you looking at?
Nothing, just the panties.
Wait.